What's up Flutter aliens, welcome back to another video of Flutter and Firebase Developer Bootcamp's week 6. So in this video, we will go ahead and design a bunch of screens for our Google Maps clone. So let's get into it. So in the previous video, we set up the project structure and added some constants in here, themes, styles, and some other core data. And one more thing that I forgot to explain is these utils. Inside the utils, we have a dot file utils, and it contains the panel position utils, which has two static methods of return type boolean. These two methods are doing the job of is sliding panel open or closed based on the position. If the position was greater than 0.98, which means that it will be adhered that the sliding panel is open. Otherwise, if it was less than 0.98, it will be meant that the sliding panel is closed. And the sliding panel work will be done in the next video. In this video, we will just go ahead and design the basic screens of our Google Map clone. And these permission utils is doing utilizing the geolocator package to requesting the permissions if it's not already granted. And we'll be utilizing this method also in the next video while getting the current user location. So that's basically a utils method. Now the first screen that we are going to design is the home page, obviously. And the home page is going to look something like this. Here you can see we have a bottom navigation bar, the tracking and the drawing polylines buttons, and this button for changing the map type to satellite or the normal map, but currently it's not the functionality. You can also add this functionality by changing the type of the Google Map. And these are the nearby places. When clicked will give us nearby places around our current position and a simple search. So now let's go ahead and design this first page. So in the first page, we are first going to design the bottom navigation bar, and then we'll go ahead for the other stuff. So the structure will start from the home page. Currently we have a simple stateless widget. So to integrate the bottom navigation bar in our home page, first we add a bottom navigation bar directory in here, and here we have widgets. So first, before going to explore the bottom navigation bar, let's convert this into stateful widget, and here in the stat it is going to hold the current index of our page. Now let's go ahead to the bottom navigation bar. In the bottom navigation bar we have a widget of bottom nav bar. It is accepting the current index, and we did not put the final this time here, which means that we'll be changing this value or assigning a value to that field. So that's why we cannot make it final, because if we made it final, it will give us an error of the current index can't be used as a setter because it's final. So in order to overcome that, we kept it like that. And the on tab is simple callback, which as a parameter accept the index. And whenever a bottom navigation bar is tabbed, so that index will be sent back to our home page, and we will be storing it in here, and based on that we will display the specific page where the bottom navigation bar is selected. So that's what will be happening in here. We have update index, which is doing set stat, calling the build method to update the UI, and setting the current index as the current index received from the list, and in the on tab we are passing the index 2. In the build method, we have a simple container for building the bottom navigation bar. We have some padding from horizontal and vertical, and the width is double infinity, means that horizontally it will cover all the available space on our device, and the height is 80. And the decoration, we have a color of bottom nav bar, which is stored in our styles of our Google Map clone. And in the child of that container, we have a row. We are generating a list and returning the bottom navigation bar item for each 5 items. And the label and the icon has been taken from these two lists created in here. First we have explore, go, saved, and contribute and updates, and their icons. So the bottom navigation bar requires the label and the icon, so we pass them on index from these two lists. And when a specific bottom navigation bar will be selected, whenever the current index was equal to the index returned in this list. And on tab we will call the update index, and that's it. The bottom navigation bar item is like very simple widget accepting a label and icon, and is selected like whenever it will be selected, and the on tab when it is going to be tapped, a callback. And here it is returning the expanded widget, the gesture detector. It will return the on tap, and we have animated container. For example, when we click a bottom navigation bar, its width will be increased to 80, otherwise it will remain 30. And for the color, we do the same thing. If is selected was true, the background color will be of blue with opacity 0.3, otherwise it's transparent, and some border radius. And this task will be done in duration of 200 milliseconds, and the icon will be the icon we will be passing in bottom navigation bar. We're accessing it from list. And then for the text, it is doing the same job. It's selected the primary, otherwise the black, and the font width W500 and font size 11. And that's what the bottom navigation bar item is doing. And the home page, now we're going to integrate that bottom navigation bar. For that, we have to remove the const from here because it is going to require dealing with updating the UI, but things that needs to be updated cannot be assigned as constants. So in the bottom navigation bar of the scaffold, we are going to have a bottom navigation bar that we just created. We are passing the current index that we are updating in the bottom navigation bar whenever a specific bottom navigation bar item is clicked. And the on tap, as you may have seen, we are returning that index that is tapped, and we are receiving it in the home page. And once we receive that, we are setting it to that current index that we have in our home page, so that we can decide which bottom navigation bar is selected, and based on that, which page needs to be displayed. It's either go page, it's explore, contribution, or any page. And in the body, what we are going to do is we will call the switch page on index, passing that current index. And the switch page on current index is going to be a method like that, accepting the index and switching on that index. If the case was 0, we will return the explore page and we're passing the current index to it. And why we're passing the current index and returning the explore page for the same 0 and 1 index is because on both of the pages of the go and the explore page, we will be displaying the Google map like that. So since these two are very similar, so we are simply differentiating both of them using the current index, passing them into the same explore page, and based on that, here we will check the conditions. And on 2, we will return the save, contribution, and the update page. Now let's go ahead and create these pages, and we are gonna go ahead for restarting our application to see what happens and what we have changed up until now. So let's go and create the pages, the basic pages. Inside the explore presentation pages, we will create the dart file will be explore page, and this is for now will be a stateless widget of explore page. And let's import the Flutter material dart. And in the scaffold, it's not going to return a placeholder but a simple scaffold with body, center, child that we usually do, text, and we'll say explore page. And for now, let's make it constant, and for all of the pages for now it will be like that. And yes, we are gonna go and design that also in this video. So we got these 5 basic pages created. For now, only stateless widgets returning their name for now in the center of the scaffold, and now we're gonna call them in the bottom navigation bar. We also create the search page, but later this will be modified also. In the home page, what we're gonna do is to, for now, let's in the explore, let's make it, for example, int current index to align it perfectly with that. Yes, now it's good. Now we'll explore or import the explore page. It's good now. And the save page, I think it's saved page. Yes. And the contribute page is also, let's import, and the update one also. So that's what is happening in here for now. And yes, when you go forward, try to add some intricate things, this structure will be modified. You'll be using tags to display the layouts differently. So this will also become clear to you when you go forward for that. Now let's also start the application to see the changes that we have done. How to start the application? Synchronizing files to the Pixel 3 API 34, and there we go. We got our bottom navigation bar. First, having the Explorer page, let me remove for uncheck the zoom controls to make it clear. So now you will see that effect of the animation, like when I click the bottom navigation bar item, it is animating from 30 to 80 in 200 milliseconds. And this is the explore page too. I think I forgot to create the go, or I could directly do with the current index, but for now let's keep it like that. We'll differentiate it later. These are the go and the explore page, the start page, the contribution, and the updates. Now we're gonna go ahead and design the explore basic page. In the explore basic page, first let's make it a stateful widget, because we'll be storing data, the Google Map controller, in the stat, so that's why it needs to be stateful. And on top of that, here we will create a global position for our Google Map, and it's targeting latitude and longitude of this place, and zoom will be 14. And this is going to be used by our Google Map when we use it in our, when we call it in our build method. And next, in the stat of the explore page, we are going to have a search controller, because we are going to have a search like that above. And then we are going to have a Google Map controller, the Google Map control to control the Google Map actions, and a focus node to check if the search is focused or not. And the sliding position and the button opacity will become clear to you, these two fields, when we go for creating the sliding up panel, modifying it on our own way, and then dealing with it in our Google Map clone application. So that's were the fields that are required in our explore page, and now it's time to remove the constant and further proceed with that. So to have a Google Map in your Flutter application, you have to add the Flutter Google Maps package that I showed you previously to add, and then you have to use the Google Map widget. This is providing us a lot of fields to modify or provide the things that we want. And you can see the map type is also here, a normal one. You can modify it also, but this is not the feature in my Google Map, but it's a pretty simple task you can do by yourself, and this could also be a task for you if you want to. And then the Google Map widget, the initial camera position is the global position that I set in here, and then the map toolbar enable is true, and the my location buttons are enabled false, because we'll be creating these two buttons, so there is no need to have the default my location buttons. And the zoom controls will also be false, buildings will be enabled, and when the map is created, we'll set the stat, the controller will become the controller, so that we can utilize that controller. So that was the basic structure of our Google Map clone, and now we're going to go and how to start the application to see if the Google Map is correctly integrated or not. So we got the splash screen, we got the explore page. In the explore page, we got that Google Map. You can see we got the Google in here, and this is the global position that I provided in here. So that's pretty simple. Later it will become more complicated when we go for the intricate things. So that's it. Now to align things over Google Map, it's obvious we'll be using stack. So we will wrap the Google Map clone first with a column, since we don't have the stack directly, and we will change it to stack like that. And down here, what we will create will align on top of the Google Map. So here we will do first to have a search here. So a search is going to be a very broad widget. We'll be storing it in our global widgets. It is going to contain a lot of fields that I'm going to explain to you right now. So we got that search widget in here in the global widgets. This search widget is basically a stateless widget taking the controller for the data, for the text accessing, and other properties of that. The focus node to provide the autofocus, or the way we want to adjust the on tap simple callback, on changed, on submitted, will you change callback functions, and the on tap outside, what's going to happen when we tap outside from the field. Whenever the on cancel is tapped, what we're going to do. And for validation, we have the validate is outline. For example, when you come to the saved contribution or the updates page, so the search field will be outlined. And if we are on the Google Maps, so here it is going to have a slight shadow around it. So that's why we have this Boolean field also. And one more boolean field is on search page. If we are on search page, then what we are going to display, for example, a back navigation button or icon, so that we can go back from there. So this field will only become true whenever we are on the search page here that I created. And the has profile is for now not used, but let's just keep it like that. You can utilize it on your way. And the read only is to allow a field to be only read only, and the autofocus and the loading will be that circular progress indicator whenever the places are loading, is show cancel whenever we have to show the cancel button in here that you have seen the demo of the application. Whenever we drop a pin or appear the nearby places around our current position, so there will come up the cancel icon, so that when we tap that, so everything will disappear except our current position icon. So that's all the fields. That's all the fields where the controller is required. We have a padding from left to right and top 60, and a container with padding from inside, and the width is double infinity, having the height of 50, and in the decoration color is white. The inner color, the border radius will be 30, and when outline was true, the border all will be with 1 and the color will be gray. And otherwise there will still be border, but with the transparent color, so that it is not showing on the UI if it has borders or not, since the inner color is already white. And if the outline was true, then we are not going to have to show some shadow, some slight shadow around the search field, search widget. But if it was false, we will display some shadow around the field. And finally, we are returning the text field, passing the validate, change, controller, focus, not all of that stuff. This is null check. If the autofocus was not null, only in that case this field will be utilized, otherwise it will kept it to be false. And the on tap outside and all the other methods, the cursor color will be the primary color light of our application. The keyboard brightness is dark, and the keyboard type is text, and the style of the font is 16. Input decoration, search here, some styling for the hint style, and the content padding and the border. If the is search page was true, then we will have the back navigation as I said. Otherwise we are going to have the app logo of our Google Map clone. And for the suffix, what we're going to do, if the is show cancel was true, then we will have a cancel button, otherwise the icon of the keyboard voice, and that's all the search widget is doing. Now in the explore page here, we're gonna have a column, so that we don't have to align everything in the align widget. So you can see we can align this and this and this button vertically, so that it's good to use the column in here. So the first child of the column is going to be the search widget, and that search widget will be displayed here, will be read only, which means that we will not be interacting with the search in here. But what you're going to do when it's tapped, we will navigate to the search page, and here we utilize the page route builder to have some fade transition between whenever we are navigating to that page. And then whenever tap outside, we will unfocus the focus node, and the search control is passed like that, and the loading is false. It show cancel is also false, since we are not dealing with that functionality right now. That's just a UI stuff, so I keep it like that. And for outline, what we're going to do is, since we will be having the sliding up panel, and when it's reached to its 0.98 above, then the sliding and is passing the slide position, then we will set it to true, because it's going to cover the area. So then we will have to display the outline. Otherwise, if it's less than, so obviously we will use the search widget with have some shadow around it, and that's it. Now the search widget, we have this. Now let's start the application once again to have the search field in place. And here we go, we got the search. Whenever it's clicked, will navigate us here, but currently we don't have any navigation or search in here in the search page. So let's go to the search page also. This is going to be very simple. Make it a stateful widget first. Then in the stat, we're going to have a search controller, and now remove the const from here. And then in the column, we're going to have a search widget which is going to autofocus true. For example, when you come to this search page, then it will be autofocused, has profile false, it's outline true. We have to remove this has profile since you're not using it. So Let's remove it from here. I just found out I was using it for some reason in the already built Google Map application, and it remained like that for me. So now, since it's not using in here, so it's better to be not including it in the search widget. So its outline is true, is on search page is true this time, then we will see a back navigation here in the search field. And when cancel is tapped, the search will be cleared, and the controller submitted and change are empty for now. So now let's Ctrl S to hard reload. We got the search page in here. It's autofocus, the keyboard appears. We can go back. So that was the basic search page, and then later we will also add some things below the search widget, for example appearing the search results and showing some recent data, and that's it. Now we're gonna design the nearby places down here. So inside the Explore widgets, we're gonna add this nearby places directory, which holds a nearby places widget and the nearby place single item widget. And the nearby place is simple accepting the on place click listener and will return the type of that place that is clicked, and then having an on complete. And later when we go to the API integration part, so this on complete will be utilized too in there, and for now it's not, so let's keep it like this because we'll need that in the future. And having container margin from top 15, and then some height 45, a list view builder since we have horizontal list view, so its scroll direction is horizontal. Since we have limited items, so I set the shrink wrap to true, so it will take only the space that its children required and will not be that building the stuff, the items again and again whenever this comes into the view on the device. So the item count is taken from the icons nearby places constant that we have added in the previous video, and this can also be taken from the text obviously because both are the same, only the difference is the ones are the icons, the other text. And then we are accessing from these two global lists static methods from the nearby places icons and the nearby places const, and then passing them to the single nearby place item widget. And then when the on place click listener is clicked, we are passing the place in here, and we will be sending it back to our home page so that we can access it in here. And based on that, we make a call to an API and appear the nearby locations around our current position. So that's what will be happening in here, and the place will be a single place text, and the icon will be that icon. And the bottom navigation bar, not the bottom navigation bar, the single nearby place is very simple. I explained already these three fields: having a gesture detector, calling all place with the place text, and then having a container with some margin and padding, and a box decoration of having some shadow and board radius and a color, having a wrap widget, and the alignment and the cross alignment is in the center, having an icon like that, and some horizontal spacing and some text with some style, and passing that place in here. And the place name and the icon are retrieved from the constant that I showed you in the previous video. Now in the Explore page, what we're gonna do is here, right after the search widget, we will check a condition. If the current index was 0, then only in that case you will display the nearby places, because in the Go page we are not going to have the nearby places like that. And so we check the condition in the Go page, we're not going to have this. And once you got the nearby places widget, now it's time to how to start the application once again to see the result of it also. So we got the nearby places like that, we can scroll it horizontally like that, and that was the nearby places. Now three more things that are remaining to be displayed over the Google Map, that are the changing map type, this button, and this drawing polylines. So for that, I created these three button widgets in the widgets of the Explore feature. And the change map type button is very simple, having an align at the top right, which means that it will be aligned in here, and the simple gesture detector when it's tapped, and the column within height 40 and some spacing around margin, and the decoration white radius, and having providing the shadow it's upon you how you describe your widgets. These are the building blocks of the UI, and as I explained, these are immutable in my other video. If you want to learn deep how the Flutter render widgets, you can either read this article that I wrote in the Medium, and also you can watch this detailed video in order to learn how widgets are immutable and how Flutter used to render widgets. So I explain very granular things there, so if you want to learn that, you can also learn it from here. So that is a very simple button. No rocket science, no more complex logic. A very simple button with some alignments and some styling. The go button is Sam, very simple, having an on tap gesture, some width and height, or some decoration, and the Sam accessing the font awesome icons, diamond turn right, and the white color. And the track button is also doing the same. Very simple, some alignment at the bottom right here, and then a center location crosshairs with the black 87, and that's all. In the change, not in the change, but the explore page, after that we are gonna have the change map type button right after the nearby places widget, and then outside the column we are gonna have one more column where its main axis alignment will be at the end. In the children, we are returning the track location button and the go to button. Now let's start the application once again to see that code of the explore page in action. So you got the splash screen again, and yes, we got that buttons. The map is like that, movable, we can drag like that. And in the go, here you can see it does not have the nearby places, since it defined here if the current index was 0, means if we are on the explore page, only in that case nearby places will be displayed. And now it's time to go for designing the saved page. This is going to be very simple, since the saved and the contribution and the update page is not going to hold any logic. So these are just the design stuff, and it's going to be very simple. So to create them in the saved page, what we're going to do in here, first of all, it is going to look something like this. So you can see it has the outlined border of the search widget. So here what we're going to do, make it a stateful widget first, since it have a search, and let's have a controller and then dispose it, and then remove the constant. Then the scaffold body will be replaced with the column, no more the center widget, and inside that column we are going to have a search like that, and then your list and new list. So here what we are going to do, have a search field with this data, no more no less, and that's enough for here, since we don't have any functionality in this page, so we'll keep it like that. And next, padding widget with agency symmetric horizontal and vertical 20 and 15, and the row matrix alignment space between, one will be aligned at the leftmost and one at the rightmost. This is all what means by the space between, and the text and the row of icon and my list. And then the items are similar like that. For example, it has the icon, the title and the subtitle, and having the menu buttons in here, having a divider for all of these saved lists. So this is going to be a widget for that, so that we do not come up with duplicating the code again and again, but we reuse the same widget that we created in the widgets of our saved presentation widgets. So what you're going to do in the widgets, we're going to have a save list item, and the save list item is going to accept the icon, its title, the icon, its title, and then its subtitle here, and then the on tap menu listener whenever it's clicked that, and the on tap over the whole, and then the icon color like that. And that's all how it passed to this, having an icon overall tab, and having the menu click listener, the icon and the title subtitle with the divider, horizontal space, horizontal padding, and that's all. Now in the saved page, right after this, we will do create at least 5 save items passing the relevant data, favorites, and the place one, for example, like that, the favorite outline with their color, and then their functions like that, and that's all. Next we have the bottoms icon in here, it's not captured correctly in the screen, but for that, since it's 3 also and similar, so for that we're also going to have a widget that would be this save bottom item, and this is holding the icon and the title and nothing else. Have an expanded widget column since it's aligning things vertically, having a container and a circle shape, and then in the center it has an icon that we'll be passing when we call this save bottom item, and then having a title with the next line 1. When it's overflow, it will be ellipsis, which means that 3 dots at the end and some styling like that. In the start page, right after this 25 height spacing, we will do create a row with the matrix alignment space evenly and a save bottom item and some vertical space also right after this. But when we how to start the application and go to the save page, this is going to throw a render flex exception because we have a lot of things aligned like that, and that might be going out of the screen vertical height and bounded. So when you go to the start page, we got like that, or flow front bottom render flex exception. So to fix that, we will wrap the column with a widget that is single child scroll view, so that all the area of the scaffold of the start page will become scrollable and will take the space that it can take like that. So that was our start page. Then it's time to go to the contribute, and in the contribute we left the save. Okay, that's it, no problem. In the contribute, what we are gonna do in here, it is going to look something like this, having the username, view profile, and these 3 similar icons, having some text below, and this icon, then some text, contribute now. So for that, in the contribute page, we will first make it stateful widget, then in the stat having a search controller, and then disposing it, removing the const again, and then replacing the center. First remove that with again a column, the cross-axis alignment start, and then similar we're gonna have a search, so we can copy that search from our saved page because it's going to be similar. Here in the contribute, the search, import that search, and right after that search we have these 2, username and the view profile aligned vertically. So for that we have to give some space vertically, then a padding that would be horizontal 35, and the cross-axis alignment will be start, the name and the viewer profile, that is the name and viewer profile. And right after that we are gonna have the horizontal items, and since they're similar, so for that we have to use the widget that is already created, and that widget is already in here, so we can utilize that in the contribute. So right after that we are gonna have some space of 15 like that, and then there will be a row matrix alignment space evenly, and utilizing the same save bottom item because it's similar to that, and that's it. Then we have this box having this icon, this title, description, and the button of contribute now. So right after that, outside that row we're gonna have some size box, vertical spacing, and then having a container with the margin and padding, horizontal 25 and horizontal 30 for padding, and the width will be infinity, only that space is taken directly here, and then the height is taken from the media query multiplied by 0.50, means that 50% of the screen, and then some decoration, and having a column of keep going title, description, and the text button of the contribute now, and some size box vertically. And since we have given the 50% height to this container, and this stuff is also larger to take the area, so for that we also have to wrap the column with a single child scroll view, so if things go out of the screen we can scroll down too and not facing the render flex exception again. So now let's restart the application once again, and then go for testing the contribute page also. So we got in here in the contribute page we got this, and why is that might be causing is because the contribute page is calling we are in the home page and it's already having a scaffold, and a scaffold within a scaffold might cause some problems. So in the contribute page, better to remove the scaffold this time, and Sam will go for the south page. We will come to that and then do it like that. It's better now. For the south, if it has a scaffold, it was working fine, but in that case we're causing the problem. So let's pass it like that, and then how to start the application once again to see if that was actually the problem. Now go to the contribute page and it's having still that problem. So I think we missed something out in here. That might be because of more margin from here. So let's try to remove that margin from here and test it out, and yeah, it worked. That's great, and that's what we wanted. Now the last thing is designing the update page. Let's convert into stateful widget, and then here Sam as usual in the south page we will have this thing, and then removing the const, and this time the scaffold too, because we already have one scaffold. So better to not have the scaffold inside the scaffold. Then we're gonna have column replacing again the center widget, and then same as other pages we are also going to have here the same search widget, and then the update page looks something like this. We have this tab bar. So for the tab bar we need to have the animation, so we have to mix within our stat the single ticker provider stat mixin, so that it provide us the vsync, and then let's have a tab bar controller and a tab bar index too, and then in the init stat here let's do initialize the tab controller with the max length 3, since we have 3 tabs in place, so better to be the length specified max, and the vsync is this. And then after the size box here we are gonna have a tab bar widget having the controller pass the on tab. When it's clicked, tab index will become equal to the index that is selected, and the unselected label style is going to be the text style, font size 16, W600 font weight, and the gray color. And the label style for the selected will be that only the color is different, and having 3 tabs of following notifications and messages. So that is going to be only that upper tab bar. To having set up the pages of the following notifications and the messages, we have to give some space vertically right after the tab, and give the full vertical height to that tab bar view for each tab, passing the same controller, having children of first the padding, the other padding, and third also the padding, which is identifying the 3 pages of our following notifications and the messages since it's designed. So we keep it as simple as that. And once you have logic, so obviously you have to follow a different approach in your UI also. So we have some width and height for the images that we used here, and then the text of title and the description, and then here it has the button container widget. So that button container widget will also be within the global widgets here. That would be this button widget, and this button widget is taking the on tab title and the icon if required. That's why it's nullable, and having inkwell. If the icon was null, then simply show a container and then in the child the text, otherwise having a row with the icon before the text. And then that's it, that's simple button, and no much complex things in here. And in the update page, let's import that, and there we go. Now let's start to start the application to see also the changes of the updates page. So here we got the updates page like that. We can go to notification messages like that. So that was the basic UI of our Google Map clone. In the next video we will go for sliding a panel thing, and then dealing with the tagging current location, and then other APIs integration in the upcoming videos. So this week 6 is going to be very exciting for you. There's a lot to learn from here, dealing with the complex UI of Google Map, drop pin functionality, fetching nearby location around the current position, and all of that stuff. And we built a bunch of screens in our Google Map clone, integrated the Google Map, and in the next video, as I said, what we will be doing. So that's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, thumbs up, like, and subscribe for daily updates. And that's it. See you in the next one.